don't know, man. I mean, part of me wants to believe there is like some type of an afterlife, and part of me believes that's wishful thinking, right? Because who knows what that's going to be? Is it a black? Is it nothing? Do we have souls? Do we die and that's it? There's nothing else? Because it's really hard for the human brain to wrap around the idea of nothing, because we've got this full experience, and like life is so like there's so much, all these neurons firing, that it's hard to think nothing. Like, what even is nothing, right? And that's where it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's our own personal heavens. Maybe we all go to hell. Maybe we're in a simulation on an alien spaceship and we wake up and we go again. Maybe there's afterlife. Maybe there's reincarnation. I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Way of El Marco, episode number 21. And today we have a very special guest, no other than UCM's Student of the Year, the one and only Mr. Chance Rayhill.
Thanks, buddy. That's quite the intro. I actually forgot about the Student of the Year thing. 21 episodes, huh? Man,
21 episodes, buddy.
A few of those, man. I got to go back and watch some of those. I think you're like past David and I now, and we've been doing our podcast longer. Shit, man, we got to record more episodes.
You know, the thing is, man, it's I think when you're doing a podcast with a partner, it's harder to keep consistent because you have to line shit up with another person, right? And
he lives in Sweden.
Yeah, you got the time difference, right? And so then, like, the thing is, it's been relatively easy for me to keep doing this week after week after week after week.
Yeah.
But today, this is the last episode for a while, right? I'm gonna hang it up for a minute. I wanted to get to 21. Another UCMer, Daniel Hull, the other day pointed something out to me. He was sharing some statistics about podcasts, and that only 1% of podcasts make it to 21 episodes.
Huh. Interesting.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
It's probably one of those like instant gratification things. A lot of people don't see the traction they want, so they just give up. If I were to guess, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
well, I would say that's part of it. Okay, so let me ask you, why do you and David do your podcast?
So a couple of reasons. One, I love to talk, man. That's why it's called Sales Ramble. I can ramble on anything for any amount of time. It's the ADHD, right? Idea. Second thing, man, our original vision is the podcast is going to be a tool in our business as a bridge between sales professionals and business owners. So we've interviewed a lot of sales professionals, podcasted with a lot of sales professionals. Now we're transitioning into more of the business owner side of things. We're just looking to build that rapport between professionals and business owners. So when an opportunity comes up, we can be that bridge. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. This is, I find that having this, I view everything as a practice, right?
Yeah.
And having this practice of the podcast has not only helped me deepen bonds with friendships, right, such as yourself and all the other people that I've had on the show, but also it's helped me with just being a better conversationalist on whether it's the podcast or even on a sales call. You know,
it's like a skill, man. The more you do it, the better. The better you get. Sorry, something was going by the window. But yeah, man, I mean, talking, I mean, it's a skill, right? And I sometimes talk too much. So, and that's a very bad thing on sales calls, right? So, yeah, man.
So speaking of sales, how'd you get into this crazy game?
Man, well, long story short, I graduated college in COVID lockdowns. Nobody was hiring a 22-year-old kid out of college, so I couldn't get a job. Did the old classic apply to job post route before I knew what networking was. Ended up networking through my dad to get a job in a manufacturing plant that I hated. Got let go after about 6 months of working there because I met with leadership and asked if there was any other department I can work in because I just didn't find fulfillment in my work. They didn't like that, so they let me go. I ended up then trimming weed for a couple of months for like $12 an hour just to pay my bills. Because
you were trimming weed for $12 an hour?
Yeah, it was fucking awful, dude.
Jesus, dude.
It was the only job I could get to pay my bills. And then I ended up landing a job at Verizon. So I quit that place because the money was awful and They wanted us to work crazy hours. So not my favorite thing, but I kind of just walked out one day on break and didn't come back. And then I got a job at Verizon Wireless, which was cool, man. I never knew the kind of money you could make as a phone selling phones and network plans. Now, the store that I was working in Indiana was one of the highest grossing in the region, so that made it easier. But I was making like 6-7K a month at fucking Verizon, dude. But I hated the schedule. It was retail, right? So like I'd work till 9 p.m. and then I had to come in at 9 a.m. Right. And it was unique, not to get on a super long tangent here, but it was unique. I lived the closest to the store, so they always gave me the shittiest shifts because everybody else had like a 30-minute drive. So a 30-minute drive on top of a close to an open was just not necessary when I lived 5 minutes from the store. It's like, fuck you guys, man. I got a life too. Like, what's going on here? But I did that for a few months, man. Made some good money. Ended up kind of burning through it like I was some fucking mogul. And then I hit a cap in terms of my earnings there. I was hitting the bonuses and shit. And I kind of looked at what's next in sales, did some research, came across high ticket sales. I think Dan Locke was the first person I started seeing ads for because he had his high ticket closer thing. Did some research on Facebook, ended up finding JD's free group, joined that, followed it for a couple of months, loved the content. Commented on one of the posts. Sam reached out. We had an initial call. He booked me with JD. JD closed me, and the rest is history, man. He connected me with my first gig, and that's that.
So you were in college. Weren't you like a tutor for a while, right? You were teaching, right?
Yeah. I was a tutor for like 3 years, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then trimming weed. What state were you in when you were trimming weed?
Michigan.
Mm-hmm. At that point, it's legalized, right? In Michigan.
Okay. It was a legal job. Yeah.
Wow. $12 an hour for trimming weed.
Yeah, it's trash. 8 hours a day, bro. Just snip.
Oh, no, I hated trimming weed. That was.
And we had a quota, and it was like,
what was your quota?
I forget what it was, dude. It was like a certain amount of pounds per day that we had to trim.
It was pounds per day, not a pound, but it was pounds per day.
Like we had to go quick. And the shitty part is we had to go quick and it had to be quality. There was this fat bitch that sat at the to the that would check our quality. And if it wasn't good, she would slide our bowl back to us. So because it was going to dispensaries, and because of the THC and the whatever the shit, all that behind the doors, it was like gold standard. We had to make it like super close to the bud trim, but not trim the bud. It was just terrible, dude. It was awful. Hated it, but I pay my bills, so we do what we do, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was like my least favorite job to do. It would actually hurt me just to sit there and do that.
I don't know about you, but we had to wear scrubs, plastic arm sleeves, big rubber gloves, a face mask, a hairnet.
Yeah, see, that's state regulation coming in and fucking shit up. Yeah, it was hot. So, bro, you would have loved my trim scenes. All right, you would have loved my trim scenes. So, imagine like a fucking long ass table and like 6 to 8 hot chicks. Okay, and me in the kitchen making badass food for everybody. Music playing, joints going around. That was a trim scene, dude.
I loved that. We did have music, but it had to be work appropriate. So like they'd play like Disney songs and Christmas music and shit. So you're sitting there listening to Jingle Bells while you're trimming weed, like
Jingle Balls.
Right. Jesus. Right. And every 7 days they did a harvest, and we had to defan, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. You gotta fucking take the big leaves off. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, do that. And they would harvest like so much at a time. So it ended up being like 12, 14-hour work days, just standing in an assembly line, ripping these big leaves off.
Yeah. I don't miss being in the weed game anymore, dude.
Oh, fuck that, dude. I thought it would be cool. I'm like, man, I'm working around bud. This is awesome, dude. Yeah. Then I got in there and I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm getting paid like minimum wage, and I have to work like this? Fuck that.
No. And you can't smoke it while you're working either,
and it was like a 45-minute drive too to get there. The only cool part is they did give us like coupons to go to where they were selling the bud to get like grams for a penny.
Grams for a penny?
Yeah, like on the house. They legally had to charge us, but they would give a coupon to take to the dispo. That was pretty.
Now here's the question: were they good grams or were they shitty grams?
They were like the middle stuff.
All right, because the reason why I bring that up is because so back in the day in California when they were working on the legalization, there was just all these like underground clubs everywhere. It was like super fucking sketchy. And there was this day I went to San Francisco to a club to get some clones, right?
Mhm.
And so I get there and it's like a super shady fucking club in a shady part of town. And I was like, fuck, dude. And there's this long ass line, and the line's just full of tweakers, like tweakers and homeless people, right?
Oh shit.
And I'm like, what's going on? And this lady's like, it's free gram giveaway day. I'm like, oh, okay. I have to wait in this line. All right, no problem. And so like people are just walking up and they're handing them grams and they're just like leaving and shit. And I was like, wonder what this gram's going to be like. I get the gram and it was like straight up like Mexican brick brown weed, dude. It was fucking
Be
awful.
like probably like K2, bro.
Oh, dude, it was
Shit that
awful.
was killing people. Nah, man, it was a crazy point in my life, honestly. Like, yeah, it was, yeah, wild, man, wild. But hey, we all, what we go through makes us stronger, I guess, is what the kids say nowadays. I don't know.
It's what all the hip kids are saying these
Yeah,
days.
yeah,
So fucking A, man. So I want to take it back to when we first met. So when I first
yeah,
heard
yeah,
about you, through the UCM, right? We hadn't been friends. We haven't met officially yet, but
yeah,
but
yeah.
but I knew of you. And so then we end up on this offer that is now defunct. So I'm going to say its name. And Mr. Rayhill, Chance here is one of the four horsemen. So now I finally have had all the horsemen on the show. The first one was Wesley, then Charlie, and now you. So then the four of us at one point were all on the same offer, which was a lot of fun. And now you end up on surplus. And
Yeah.
so then first off, I'm curious, like, what was it for you to be on an offer with buddies?
Yeah, it was great, man. It made it made the good days better and the bad days manageable. Right. So when one of us was doing really good, it was cool to celebrate that guy. And then when we were all having poor days, it was good to just kind of shoot the shit and talk some smack and, our internal Slack chats that we had, to just make everybody laugh. Right. That
Right,
was my
dude.
favorite part. It was like having your buddies at the office without all having to be at the office.
Yep.
Right. That was the best part for me.
I think our Slack channel is probably one of the funniest things ever.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking the jokes day in,
Wish we
day
still
out.
had access to that.
Oh yeah, right.
I learned from the offer I'm on now, that the admins of Slack can read those channels. So,
As far as the admins of the company of Slack or the admins for the offer.
so whoever like opened the Slack and was managing our Slack channel, like paying Slack for the pro, they could see all your internal chats. So somebody had access to those and just didn't give a fuck. Like they weren't reading them apparently, because if they
Well,
were, they probably wouldn't have been around for too long.
I'm not gonna say any names, but supposedly someone did, and they got mad at me for a couple of jokes.
Oh, nice. So
Yeah,
they did read them.
they did. We can talk about it off camera, but they got red. They got red, bro. They got red, right? And yeah,
It's hilarious.
and you learn like here's the thing about taking a joke. I think taking a joke is a lot like taking a punch, right? And if you take that joke personal, it's like, ooh, nah, dude, come on. It's like you have a choice. You can either be really butthurt or you can fire back with an even better joke,
Yeah.
which you and Wesley were really good at with each other. That shit was hilarious. Your guys' fucking banter going back and forth. Did you bring your caviar, by the way?
I did. Yes. Yeah. It's under the table as we speak.
so so the folks at home who
I
are
only
listening,
see here.
that's right. That's right. So the folks that are at home listening to this, I have to explain what the whole caviar joke is. So while we were on that offer, we would get these like super douchey rich guys, right? And then we were making fun of them as far as How'd it go? How'd it go? It was basically like, yeah, I'm just here seeing what you guys are doing while I have my hairless cat licking caviar off my balls.
Yeah, they were. God, man. It was either super rich dudes that weren't interested at all, or homeless people that they tried to get us to get loans out for. They're like,
Oh,
just push them through Elevate, man. It'll be all right.
that was such a crazy business
You know,
model.
I should have known. Caviar. Shit's hilarious. I should have known when they were forcing us to put people on Elevate and just pay their first 3 payments so we don't get refunded. They weren't even worried about the fulfillment. They're like, just make sure they pay 3 payments, then we won't have to charge back. I'm like, I look back on that and I'm like, wait a minute.
So let me ask you a question on that, bro. Like,
Yeah, far away, dude.
because you said something earlier about essentially what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a quote from Nietzsche, right? It goes all the way back to Friedrich Nietzsche, but I'm sure it goes even further back. And, I still have moments when I deal with a little guilt from selling that offer to, and right. And we've discussed this offline and with each other. But I'm also very grateful that I had that shitty experience, because now I know what a bad offer looks like. Because on the surface, it looked amazing. On the surface, it was one of those things where the UCM was like, oh, yeah, no, you guys are doing great because of whatever they were telling the UCM. But then once we got in there and we started peering underneath the bullshit, it was like, fuck. So,
Yeah.
like,
I
what are
mean,
your takeaways on that? What were your lessons that that now these days?
absolutely, man. There were pros and cons, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
make good money. Um, it was a good team structure when it was at its peak, meaning
Mm-hmm.
there was like multiple setters, and it was the most spoon-fed offer I've been on in
Mm.
terms of calendars packed out. I mean, I know LM, I'm not on LM, but I know LM fucking you guys pack out super quick.
2 weeks in
But I
advance.
mean, like, dude, you would open up slots and they would book immediately. Like it was crazy. Like I would go to bed and I'd wake up with fucking like 8 double booked appointments. I'm like, holy fuck, god damn, this shit's quick as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously there's the cons, right? I learned that money isn't everything. That leadership is very, very, very important, because the leadership there at the very top was super poor. I learned not to get on an offer that is owned by a 23-year-old, because that was pretty bad. Yeah, man, there's a lot of things I learned. I learned how to be a closer, which is really good. I was closing, like, I look back on that and I'm like, dude, I was closing that offer at like sub 40%, which tells me I can close just about anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? 'Cause it's a shitty offer. We were literally closing people on 7K to cold call.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you're going to go and cold call these lists of people that we give you. Hope one of them picks up, and then hope one of them will give you all of their personal sensitive information, and then also sign a document so you can get them money back. Good luck.
Pretty much, dude.
But yeah, man, obviously there's guilt there, right? Because very few people made any money. And I was closing a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I was doing really well. So I was taking 7K from a lot of people, and I've spoken to a few of them since. Like the one I told you, the lady. Did we talk about that when this was on record or no?
No, we talked about it
Okay.
off camera,
The
but yeah.
lady that I closed on 7K PIF, and she hired the VAs and did all the softwares and got the systems and was like 12, 13K deep and hadn't seen a penny back. And then they ended up upselling her on the done for you on top of that. There was a kid that I enrolled that got a loan out. His first loan he's ever got. Tried the business for a couple of months, did like thousands of calls, didn't get one deal in the pipeline, so he gave up. I think it was like a two-year, like 24-month term loan or something like that. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
So now these days, what's your because paying attention to you, it seems like you've shifted your style and you've added some more elements that we see that come from like Michael Dunleavy, people like that, right?
Yeah.
And so what's your process like these days?
Yeah, man. So I've learned a lot from Dunleavy's free stuff. He's got a coaching group that he's launching that I'm thinking about getting into. But I'm very much a man, I don't even know. I've made it my own, right? So I've taken from Bill Walsh, I've taken from JD, I've taken from Jeremy Minor, and I've taken from Dunleavy. It's more of a, you know, man, I don't even really know how to say it, honestly. Like on closing calls, it's like a hey, this is what we're gonna do. At the end of this, you know, I make sure that they're in a position where they can make a decision if anybody else needs to be on the call. It's not like a surplus, right? I'm not walking everybody through an hour call just to walk everybody through an hour call because we have to, right? Like they were like very firm on you need to offer every single person and then you need to objection handle and do this, do that, do this, do that. Yeah, man, I'm more man, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It's Michael Dunleavy-ish, but it's also JD-ish and Bill Walsh-ish and Jeremy Minor-ish, right? Like I believe in the neutral language. I believe that's key, especially at the beginning of the call. But I also believe you need to ask very tough questions and you need to probe on everything that they give you and clarify and push back and not settle for surface level answers and get a bunch of tie downs throughout the call, little mini commitments, stuff like that. Because at the end, it makes the process easier.
Sure. So what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Hang out with my dog.
Yeah.
Hang out with my buddies. Play video games. Fucking enjoy the lake life, dude. That's pretty much it. I'm a simple creature, man. I don't do a whole lot, to be honest with you. I sell shit, I make money, and I hang out. That's about it, man.
How's the lake house going, dude?
It's good, man. It's good. The weather's finally warming up over here, so I can enjoy being outside with my dog and being by the water. And you know, I'm in Michigan, so it's cold like 8 months a year. So it's fucking terrible. But when it's warm, it's great, man. It's awesome. I verbally agreed to another year lease here just because I mean, fucking $800 a month for a lake house, dude. Like,
that's
and
that's
like,
it. $800. Holy
yeah, dude.
fuck, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I think because I asked her, I was like, yo, are you going to be needing me out of here in October like we had talked about? Because I need to start looking for housing. And she was like, we can go through October of next year. And I was like, all right, cool. Because I wanted to leave, honestly. Because like I want to go live in Cali or somewhere warm, but I can't say no to $800 a month rent, dude. Like that's just I would be dumb.
You really want to live in California?
Temporarily. Not
Temporarily?
permanently. Yeah.
Where would you go?
I don't know, dude. I loved San Diego. It was great, man. It was great. Beautiful. Everybody's happy. I'll tell you what, man. I don't know any other parts of California, but I did not meet one person that did not seem like they liked their life. Everybody I talked to was in a great ass mood, how much they love living there. They love the weather. They hate the taxes. They hate the cost of living, but they love everything else. The people are great. A little bit more homeless than I like, but they're kind of like peaceful homeless. Like I kind of was scared I'm going to get like shanked, but they all kept to themselves. They weren't like spare change, please. They just kind of did their own thing, which was really cool. And we saw a couple tweakers, which was kind of out there. We went to PB, Pacific Beach for a day. And there was this one dude that was like just tweaking hardcore. We saw him like 5 times. Fucking shirtless dude, pants like hanging down. And he was like, yeah, he was tweaking. He was talking to nobody and like sticking his neck out and doing all these weird movements. And we were like, okay. But yeah, man.
He was talking to somebody you didn't see.
Yeah,
He had some
exactly.
real invisible friends right there.
Exactly. Exactly.
California is awesome, but like you mentioned, the taxes, the cost of living is really high. But as far as everything else goes, California is a great state.
That's why I've told myself if I go out there, I got to be doing like 15K plus a month. Because if not, there's really no point to like the lifestyle that I want. Because I want like a high rise condo to be able to look over the city and shit. So that plus everything else, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, dude, you'd be looking at like 3K, 4K a month right there on rent, depending on where you're living.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And then not to mention your budget for caviar, which would be like probably an extra $1,000 a month, right? So
hell no, bro.
We got to come up with a product that's got like, the name like caviar in it or something like that. And then you got the picture of a shaved cat or something,
Bro, I'm for it.
just
Absolutely.
just mega inside joke, right? So dude, you've had this like really great experience in your sales life at this stage of the game. Like
Yeah.
what's the future look like for you? Like what do you have
Yeah.
envisioned for yourself?
Great question. Not too sure yet. So like I know I don't want to stay in sales forever. I don't know how some of these guys do this for like 20 years and are like, yeah, I fucking love this. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It's good money. I like helping people. But like I want to get more into the coaching and consulting space, like B2B stuff. But in order to do that, I got to build more of a resume in sales because nobody's going to listen to a guy who's been in sales for a year and a half, regardless of how much money I've made. So I got to keep at it and just keep building that you know, online resume and my brand and being a name in the space to where I can get that trust and social proof and um then build from there, man. So like I was telling you, I was managing a team for a little bit, but we paused, slowed things down. So I'm looking to go. I've accepted a part-time gig, but now I've got a full-time offer through Rob Quinn. If anybody knows who that is, he runs a sales agency, Art of Sales, big name,
Mm-hmm.
7-figure entrepreneur. He's relaunching, not I don't want to say relaunching. They're looking to bring more clients on for the Art of Sales. So he needs somebody to come in and close them. So I'm looking to do full-time closing there and see what that future holds because he's a guy I respect a lot and I look up to him. And I mean, who says no to making money and some sales training from somebody who's made millions of dollars, right?
100%. 100%. 100%. 100%.
I'm very much and this is where my last relationship and I that I was telling you about, we had a lot of differences here. Very much of in the moment, present type of guy. Like I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I like to live in the moment, take each day as it comes, figure out, obviously I have a little bit of planning and schedule I go on during the week and stuff like that. But I don't know what I'm going to do next year. I don't have this big grando goal of I want to be doing this when I'm 30 and living here and doing that. And I'm more of a like, yeah, I'm 25 and I'm figuring it out, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and
As it should be, man. Enjoy your life
yes,
and live it, dude.
exactly,
You know,
bro.
you don't know when your fucking ticket's gonna get punched.
Exactly. I could not wake up tomorrow, right?
So if you didn't wake up tomorrow, what would you do then?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, do we stare at a game over screen forever? I mean, that's the world's best question, man.
What's your philosophy on it? Is there an afterlife? Is it blackness? Like where does Chance's mind go with this stuff?
I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know, and I don't know what to believe. I'm very much a man of logic and numbers and facts, and really, logic says that we don't know, right?
What was your major? Was it math?
Business.
Business.
I minored in digital marketing. I don't know, man. I mean, part of me wants to believe there is like some type of an afterlife, and part of me believes that's wishful thinking, right?
Mm.
Because who knows what that's going to be? Is it a black? Is it nothing? Do we have souls? Do we die and that's it? There's nothing else? Because it's really hard for the human brain to wrap around the idea of nothing. Because we've got this full experience and like life is so like there's so much all these neurons firing that it's hard to think nothing. Like what even is nothing? Right. And that's where it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's our own personal heavens. Maybe we all go to hell. Maybe we're in a simulation on an alien spaceship and we wake up and we go again. Maybe there's afterlife. Maybe there's reincarnation. I don't fucking know, dude. I'm gonna find out eventually.
We're gonna find out one way or another.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, though, if it is nothing and it's just lights out, you're not going to know because
Yeah,
it's
that's it.
it's nothing.
That's
The,
it.
the only the only time that I think we actually have a subtle inkling of nothingness is that time when you go to sleep from when like you just go black and then dreams start. So it's that in between time,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's like this like rebooting time where it's like and then all of a sudden you're like and you're in this fucking like, oh, I'm in this dream, but you don't know it's a dream because it fucking
Exactly.
feels
Hold up
real.
real quick. I've got
Yeah.
I've got two thoughts there. One, When it comes to like an afterlife, man, the biggest struggle for me is there's so much out there, right? And I just want to finish answering your question real quick. Like, I am not, and I apologize if I step on toes here, and I don't know if you are,
I don't
Marco.
care, dude.
I
Do it. Do
don't,
it.
I don't mean this in any harmful way, but I'm not naive enough to believe that one religion is the true religion when there are thousands out there. If you want to believe in one, that's fine. If it helps you cope, if it helps you do this, do that, whatever it is, by all means, do what makes you a better person. And I believe that's where a lot of religion stems from, is society trying to make people good people, which is cool. I'm down for that, right? Like, I'm totally cool for that. Love thy neighbor as you love yourself, or however the fuck that goes. I love that, right? But there's also thousands, right? And my dad, love him to death, respect him in this world. He's one of those, my religion is the only true religion. There's nothing else out there is right. And it's like, really, bro? Really? Like, come on. Come on. And that's where it's like, because a lot of them say different things. I know a lot of them stem from like a same thing, and then they branch out and do their own thing. But a lot of them say different things when it comes to life and sins and death and afterlife. And it's like, I don't know, man. There's like 8 billion people, and a lot of us have different thoughts. I don't know. Right. But enough of that. Put that to the side. I just wanted to wrap that up and put a bow on it. Dreams. What are your thoughts on dreams? I've heard so many different things about dreams, that it's just like our mind doing whatever. It's a parallel universe that's being shown to us. It's, our brain just takes unique objects and faces and plays like some playback. What are your thoughts on that, man?
I'm fascinated by dreams. I also like cannabis. And the reason why I'm bringing it up together is because I notice when I smoke cannabis before bed, it kind of subdues my dreams a little bit. Right. And so when I'm not smoking weed for a while, my dreams come back with like a vengeance, and they're very vivid. And yeah, just the potency. Exactly. It's just this whole experience where I wake up going, holy fuck, that was amazing. And as far as just what I've read about dreams and just research that I've read about them, is that it's the brain's way of processing the day's data, so it makes sense for you, right? So the subconscious communicates in symbols. It doesn't communicate in language. It communicates in symbols. And so then that's what dreams are, right? It's just a bunch of images, symbols, right? Very rarely in dreams will I find myself reading, right? So what I do before bed will affect my dreams. So I have a wind down ritual every night, and that involves yoga, reading, journaling, and shit like that. No screens, just so I can just detox from a day of screens because of the work we do.
Yeah.
And so all these images are coming in, all this weird shit. And so it's almost like I have this sense about dreams kind of helping me figure out other shit in my life. So it's I guess, so it doesn't create this backlog of I guess of meaning, if that makes any sense, right?
Absolutely.
It just kind of like, it's kind of like, in a way, it's why sleep is so important, right? Because it's not only sleep is regenerating your body and resting it, but it's also, you're doing the same thing with your psyche and your mind. It's why I'm also such a huge fan of psychedelics as well, right? And so, of course, like, if part of dream theory is that we're also tapping into a parallel universe, cool,
Yeah.
great, why not? That's a possibility.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. There are some dreams that some people have that are like premonitions, where it's like, okay, now you're going to experience deja vu, a day later or a week later or a month later, who knows?
Bro, that shit happens to me all the time. Deja, and I get the feeling all the time. I'm like, dude, I've seen this. I love your thought. What I want to do is push back just a little bit, because this is where we're on sales. What about lucid dreams then?
Okay, so that's
symbols are awesome, but I know motherfuckers, and I've done it a couple of times, who can control the dream, like they're in their own, like they're God, basically.
Yes. So
Make
now
stuff happen, do whatever you want. Like, what? How does that work?
So with lucid dreaming, from my understanding, is that now you're taking conscious control of what's going on in there, right? And because now you're aware of the dream, and so you're literally inside of a dream. You can do whatever. You can create whatever world. Literally, you are the master of your. If we want to get
Inception, the movie,
right, and it's like, inside the dream, you can do and create whatever. The only issue with from what I've read about lucid dreaming is that now you're actively conscious and working in the dream as opposed to just letting it happen, right?
So
Letting
it's
it
not
happen.
actually a rest.
Yeah, because you're not resting now, right? You're not resting because now you're just like you're working in there. You're like in there and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, as opposed to just going with the fucking flow. You know what I mean? And so I the only time I wish that I actually was better at lucid dreaming is whenever I have a sex dream. because because what happens, dude, like start having a sex dream, I wake up from it, I'm like, wait a minute, I wasn't done.
Bro, the lucid dreams that I've had, so I'm a big like superhero and
Yeah.
anime fan.
Yeah.
They've been like around that type of realm. Like
Mm,
like I've had lucid dreams where I'm flying, right?
nice.
Or like where I can run and jump super high and get the sensation in the dream of flying and then land and shit. Or like I've had a couple where I can shoot webs like Spider-Man and I'm slinging through the air on a web
Oh,
and it's
dude.
like you can feel it, bro, right? And the thing I've noticed about lucid dreaming is that I can't do it all the time.
Mhm.
And whenever I do it, I wake up pretty quickly,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
like I'll fly for a couple of seconds and I'll feel it and then I'll wake up in real life. And I think that's the brain being like, "No, motherfucker, you're sleeping. Stop."
Yeah.
Right? Like it wakes me up to put me back to sleep. And I'm like, "Damn it, that was so cool."
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's an enigma for me because it's like, dude, can some people do it like they can do it every single night? And it's like, what? How are you?
Because
It's just it's like the imagination. You're tapping into
yeah.
imagination, but it's real.
Yeah.
It's almost like a matrix,
A
right?
lot of them, exactly. It is just like that. It's like that white room in the Matrix when Morpheus and Neo and they're bringing up all the shit, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of these folks are also training themselves to lucid dream, you know. So for example, you can train yourself before you're sleeping to say something like, all right, once I'm in the dream, I'm going to look at my hands. And then once I do that, I know I'm going to be in the dream. And then you can start, but like anything, it takes practice, right? And so once again, like I'm not necessarily going to be doing that myself just yet, just because my sleep is so valuable. But
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can only imagine how much fun it would be to fucking
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man out or be like Wolverine or fucking
Oh,
like these,
bro, yeah,
right?
it's been like the coolest dreams in my life. And I know this is supposed to be a sales podcast. We're
Oh
taking
no,
off
no, it's not,
topic,
bro.
but
This is not. No,
oh, it's
this is the
not. Oh, dude,
no,
I
dude.
love it. Okay, cool, cool, good, good. I'm like shit, dude. I'm taking this way off
No, I only
the
started
rails
talking
here.
about sales to warm us up, man.
Ah, nah, man, awesome, cool, cool. But yeah, I've also seen people do it with like time, right? So like apparently you can't read time in a dream, so people will like they'll wear a watch all day, and then in their dream they'll have that watch on, and they can't read it, so they'll know they're dreaming,
Oh,
right?
oh yeah.
Or I've also seen people who will like put something on their hand, similar to what you said. I forget what, maybe it's like a wristband or something. They do something with their skin and they look at it like multiple times a day, and then when they get in the
Oh,
dream and they
uh-huh,
don't see it,
uh-huh.
okay, I'm dreaming.
Yep,
Right?
yep,
And then you're God, right? Or
yep.
whatever you think. Like you control everything.
You're
You're
pretty.
Rick and Morty.
You're pretty. Did you say Rick and Morty?
Yeah, yeah. I said you're Rick from Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
You can do anything, bro. Like shit.
Pretty much, dude. I fucking love that show. I
Oh,
love
bro,
that
I do
show.
too. It's great. It's
Oh,
great.
dude, a friend of mine introduced me to that show not too long ago, and I'm like on episode 6 or 7. And
It's great.
oh my god, yeah, everything I love about sci-fi, and then weird shit, and then some like, you
It's
know,
like a full satire on like yeah, exact like sci-fi science shit, and it's great. I love it. It's fantastic.
dreams. So last night I microdosed.
Nice.
Did some shrooms, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and you know, I felt it a little bit, and
yeah.
I slept really great. My dreams they were all right. Yeah, I smoked a lot of weed too, so it subdued them. But um, it's funny because like we are in high performance roles, right? We've and you know you're a big fan of athletics of
Hmm.
basketball especially, and you know the parallels between you know us being sales athletes, but then also understanding how important it is to recover.
Oh yeah.
you know, and part of that being with sleep, part of that, fuck, dude, playing video games. I love playing video games, but I have a really bad video game addiction. That's why I had to stop.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I failed my first semester in college because of Final Fantasy VII.
Wow. I mean, I would say I'm not a casual and I'm not an addict. I'm in between. Like I can play for a couple hours and quit, but some weekends I'll stay up till 3 in the morning playing with my buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, so I'm in between.
What
Right.
kind of
Sometimes
games do
I'll
you play?
play. It depends. So I play a wide range. I play competitive, very competitive games like Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
I play some more chill games like NBA 2K and Madden. Just downloaded MLB The Show, and I'm also a really big fan of like fantasy RPGs.
Oh God, I love those.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I would say Elden Ring, but I really wasn't a big fan of that one. Like Skyrim, the Final Fantasies, Fables back in the day when I was a kid, Fable on the 360. I love RPGs. I
Mm-hmm.
love, and it's something about, and I don't know, maybe it's this connection to like a different world, right? But makes you feel like you're in a different reality, and an RPG allows you to experience that in your own way, right? Because you get to level up your character how you want. You get to choose the dialogues that, if done right, like in Skyrim, change the world around you, right? So yeah, that's, you have your own play styles, especially in the wide RPGs. Like you can be a magic user, you can be a sword guy, or an axe guy, or a staff user, or a bow guy, right? There's all these different. Yeah, I love it,
Oh,
man.
dude, role-playing games are my fucking favorite. And by the way, we got 6 minutes till 2, and I know you got to get going, so we got to
No
wrap this
sweat.
up.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
absolutely.
pretty fast, buddy. Um, no, dude, it was. I'm stoked that we got into the weird shit. You know, that's just we warmed it up with just like, hey, what's this? Talk about sales, all right, and then we'd start getting into some weird stuff, and it's like, all right, cool. You know, let's
Bro,
put the
and see,
cherry on
this
top.
this is the kind of stuff that I just miss talking to you, man, because you're a
Yeah.
very intellectual human being, and I can ask you questions that I can't ask a lot of my friends. Sorry, Joe, one of my buddies here, just because you have life experience, right? And not that you're old. I'm not like, oh, Grandpa Marco. It's like, dude, you're a homie, but you've also been on this planet longer than me, so I can ask you questions and get your opinion because you're going to have a deeper realm of knowledge than I have,
Buddy,
right?
appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
that's what's really cool, and that's what I really enjoy about talking to you, man. That, and you've got a lot of great advice about stuff because you've been through a lot, like you've told me, and some of my personal struggles that I've leaned on you for some support when we were on Surplus. You're like, hey, I've been there, dude. This is how I overcame it, and here's some advice, right? And that's what's, yeah, we have to do this more, man. Not even on like a podcast, but like
I've
just
missed you too. I missed you too,
just
buddy.
chat it up, man.
Yeah, yeah, I missed you too. It's been good. That's why I was really stoked when finally getting you here, and for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
and for the last one, for now,
yeah, yeah.
and that's and I'm just super, I'm super stoked that you're doing well.
Thanks, man.
You know,
Thanks. You too,
yeah,
man. I'm happy to see. I know Surplus wasn't a fit. And you tried your fucking bet. Well, what just happened? You tried your fucking best there. And it made me upset because I know that you're skilled and I know that you love this game. So I'm happy you're on an offer where it might not be the best fit, but there's potential to make some good ass money there. Right?
yeah, dude,
There's
yeah,
a lot of people doing it.
yeah. And I'm in, last month I had a good month, and this month I'm like, okay, and I'm not tripping on it because
It's sales, bro. It's ebbs and flows,
it's
ups
sales,
and
dude.
downs.
Yeah, man, and it's like my third month there, and I'm
Exactly.
not even tripping, dude. So like,
No,
I feel
no, no,
fucking
no.
great right now.
A lot
So
of people, I love that you said that. I know we're almost out of time here, and I love getting into some weird shit too, dude. We went sales, we went weird, we went sappy. It's great, man. We've hit all the emotional pillars. But real quick, I love that you said that because I feel like a lot of people, there's too much comparison in the sales game, right? Like they'll see this guy doing 40K a month and they'll be like, man, why can't I do that? Or they'll hold themselves to their mentor standards. Like, man, Bill Walsh said he was closing at 80%. Why can't I do that? Or they'll see Jeremy Miner, who made $30 million in however many fucking years he puts on every single one of his ads and straight
I know,
commissions.
right.
And they're like, man, why can't I do that? And it's like, dude, just if you're hitting your goals and you're feeling good about what you're doing, who cares about the rest, dude? Right? Like that's the way that I see it. And obviously we have mentors and they hold us to a certain standard. So you want to care about that a little bit. But like there's a quote, we're talking about basketball, Lakers, LeBron James. I know a lot of people, a very controversial figure. I like him as a basketball player. I don't resonate with his off-court stuff if somebody's going to roast me for that. But He says, as long as I leave 100% out there talking about basketball or whatever you're doing, I can live with the end result, right? So if you know you did your very best, maybe you fell a little bit short, you can live with that because you did your best, right? And that's day to day, that's goals, that's weekly. Obviously, you want to crush your goals, but let's be realistic. It's not always going to happen, right? But if you do your best, like you take 8 calls a day and you do your very best on all 8 calls and you only close 2, you did your best, right? At the end of the day, you can live with that. That's just,
Well said. Well said, brother. And we're gonna close it off on that one, right?
I love it, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode of The Weight of El Marco.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me on, brother.
My absolute pleasure. No, it's
sorry it took so long for us to link up. I'm
dude,
just happy to get it before you
yeah, no, don't even worry about it, dude. You know, everything works out the way it's supposed to work out, and it worked out beautifully.
Everything happens for a reason, man.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last episode for a while. I'm going to be focusing some of my time on a new business venture, just because, you know, making money is the name of the game this year, right? Last year's mission was basically to save my mom's life with her cancer, and so now it's let's focus on making some fucking money.
I agree.
Once again, I want to extend my utmost gratitude and appreciation and love to my guest, Mr. Chance Rayhill, buddy. It's so good to have you on board, especially for, like I said, the last one for a while. We will be back at some point in the future, ladies and gentlemen. This has been episode number 21. Subscribe, let your grandma know. Good luck and good night.